Welcome to Salad with a Side of Fries. I'm your host, Jenn, talking wellness and weight loss for real life. We're here to clear up the myths, misinformation, bad science, and marketing to teach you how to eat and how to cheat. Are you ready? I'm having salad with a side of fries. This week, we are talking about yogurt. So some people love it. Some people hate it. It's one of those foods that can also be a total trap, right? Like it is marketed to us as healthy and a great choice when the truth is like that's not necessarily the case. So, and you'll find studies on both sides of the equation. So some will show you yogurt is incredibly healthy, and other studies have refuted the connection between yogurt and good health. So I will say, if someone has issues chewing for whatever reason, yogurt can be an incredible choice for them because it does have nutrients and it is easy to eat in that way. So I think for those people in particular, it's, recommended. For the rest of us, we want to look at it more closely. Okay. So while we're looking at it more closely, I want to take a step back and talk about dairy in general. So dairy cows in the US are most dairy cows in the US are given what's called bovine growth hormone, which is RBGH, bovine growth hormone. And that in the human body can increase an insulin-like growth factor called IGF-1. Okay, all of this you don't have to know. What you do want to know is that when IGF-1 is high, it's connected to heart disease, cancer, diabetes, among other health challenges. And so whenever possible, when choosing dairy, we want to look for RBGH free, meaning that the cows were not pumped full of this bovine growth hormone. And therefore, choosing organic is what we want to do when it comes to dairy. And the organic thing can be sometimes even more challenging when it comes to yogurt. But in talking about this, I wanted to mention it because I think it's really important. And for some people, by the way, yogurt and dairy can have almost like an autoimmune response or can trigger an autoimmune response. So be careful, know yourself, and if it impacts you. And the truth on that too is that we're all more or less lactose intolerant after the age of like 7. So starting around age 5, our bodies naturally have less of an enzyme called lactase. Lactase is the enzyme that breaks down lactose, the sugar in milk. So yogurt tends to contain less lactose than milk or some cheeses. So that's why some people are able to have yogurt even when they're dairy sensitive. But still, if it upsets your stomach, don't eat it, right? If you're allergic to whey versus lactose, right? Or if you're allergic to the protein found in milk versus the sugar, yogurt's not going to work for you. So I'll be honest, like for me, I go through phases of, having it, not having it. One of my mentors recommends 3 servings of dairy per week. So that's really different than what a lot of us have been told, right? So let's talk about the claims that we've heard and, why we've been told that we should eat dairy and yogurt in particular. So the first one I think that comes to mind is the probiotics, right? Or prebiotics. And there are some naturally occurring in yogurt because it's a fermented food. But many yogurts on the market also have probiotics added to them. So they're fortified with additional probiotics. And because dairy can be pro-inflammatory, you're not necessarily going to get the probiotic benefit that you're looking for. So we're probably better off eating a variety of vegetables and fruits, sufficient fiber, and, some fermented foods, and then occasionally dairy to have our best gut environment. So check the box on the probiotics, right? We get that one. We've also heard it's a great source of protein. And I'm going to come back to this one in a second. My favorite is when you see the gluten-free label on milk. And that's not yogurt, but like So gluten is the protein found in grains. Last I checked, milk wasn't a grain, and so inherently milk should be gluten-free, right? But when it comes to yogurts, so sometimes um, grains or gluten will be added as a thickening agent. That's actually the difference between Greek style yogurt and actually Greek yogurt. So pay attention, make sure you know what you're getting, and go for the organic, because then that also makes sure that the cows were not fed grain and they were not, especially like genetically modified foods and the hormones and all that kind of stuff. So the other thing that always comes up um, around milk is, and dairy in general is a great source of calcium, right? And this is interesting. So on average, plain non-fat Greek yogurt has about 187 milligrams of calcium. Comparing this to some other foods, a cup of spinach has 240 milligrams. A cup of broccoli has 180 milligrams. A cup of figs has 300 milligrams. So when we start to compare it to other things, eh, on the calcium from yogurt, right? So again, like on occasion, every now and then adding variety, cool. But to say, oh, I have to eat this every day because I need, the calcium, let's take a pause on that. Um, and then quick note on foods that say they have yogurt coating, right? So that could be cereals, that could be bars, like protein bars or candy bars, or candy, right? They'll say like made with real yogurt. Okay, they're not. Candy coating is made from whey powder or yogurt powder, sugar, hydrogenated oils, basically all the things that are not real yogurt. So don't be fooled. So how do we choose our yogurt? Right? So we can have it, we want to have it on occasion. How do we choose it? What are we looking at? So the first question that people always ask is low fat, no fat, full fat, like what are we supposed to do? So when choosing yogurt, I always recommend go for low fat. So the reason being dairy is not our best source of fat, that's not our most nutritious fat. So that knocks out the full fat thing. And the fat free, when you're reading the label, you'll see that the fat free has more sugar in that container. And so essentially, when we're removing the fat, it concentrates the sugar in that volume of yogurt. So we also know from our other episodes, right, that having some fat can help blunt the impact of sugar on our glucose. So low fat yogurt is our best option. Then that brings up the sugar thing. So we actually have to read the label of the sugar. And what we're looking for is there's always going to be sugar in yogurt because sugar naturally occurs in dairy, right? That's lactose. So what we want to find out is by reading the label, is the sugar that's there the naturally occurring sugar, or how much is added? Is it added sugar? And the way we do that is really by reading the ingredients. So we want to choose one that has as little sugar as possible, but most importantly that it's not added sugar. So reading the ingredients, sugar is going to look like cane sugar, anything with the word syrup, right? Ideally, you're choosing one where the only ingredients are yogurt cultures and maybe some live active cultures. Those are your probiotics that they've added in. And so this brings up flavored yogurt because this is also a question I get all the time. So the flavors tend to have added sugar and added ingredients, sometimes not even like actual fruit. So read the ingredients. So I did a quick comparison. So Dannon Light and Fit vanilla, right? So not even like some crazy flavor, just plain, vanilla versus the plain Faye, Phage, whatever, however you want to say it, 2% Greek yogurt. So the Dannon Light and Fit vanilla had 4 grams of added sugar. Cane sugar was the fourth ingredient. And that was in 150-gram serving. The 2% Greek yogurt was a 200-gram serving and had 0 added sugar. So there you go, right? We can see it. It's pretty clear. The other thing to look at on the label, as we know, is protein. So I promised you I'd come back to this. So protein, remember from all of our reading labels, 7 grams is 1 ounce. So the Dannon Light and Fit, going back to that, had 5 grams of protein and 150 grams serving. So like less than an ounce, less than an egg white's worth of protein. The Faye 2% Greek yogurt, a 200-gram serving, had 17 to 20 grams of protein. So now we're talking almost 3 ounces of protein instead of almost 1. So that's dramatic, you know? And the reason for this also is like the way they make Greek yogurt is they drain it more and that concentrates the protein. That's also why it's more expensive, because it takes more of the milk basically to then drain into to create the Greek yogurt. It takes more product. So anyway, I just want to mention quickly non-dairy alternatives, because nuts or soy, read the label for the same elements, looking at the sugar, looking at the protein, but realize if you're looking for dairy, your dairy substitutes are not checking those boxes, right? Like, it's not a fermented food. It's not going to give you those benefits that you are potentially looking for from dairy. So if you're going to eat it, how do we eat it? When can we eat it? All the things. So like we said, low fat, plain Greek yogurt. Add your own fruit and then round out the meal. Maybe add some nuts for some healthy fat, a little bit more protein. You can add it to a smoothie to help thicken the smoothie. You could even, like, I'll mix it with like nutritional yeast or avocado or whatever. You can make a dip. You could use even like a low sodium, like ranch dressing mix it with the Greek yogurt, and then you get a little veggie dip. You could use Greek yogurt in baking instead of butter or oil. Use it instead of sour cream on a baked potato. Make a creamy salad dressing with it. So you can really be creative if you're willing to go sweet and savory, and, you know, get a little bit more protein by using that low-fat Greek yogurt. So summing this up, low-fat Greek yogurt, organic even better. Read the label for sugar and protein, and be sure to round out your meal or your snack with fiber and quality fat. And that's the deal on yogurt. Darlene, one more time, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. This is great.
Awesome. As always, guys, I'm your host, Jenn Trepeck. Connect with me on Instagram at Jenn Trepeck, JENNTREPECK. Our Facebook page is at the same handle. And DM me, because I want to hear your questions, your key takeaways, any ideas that you have. And of course, this is also a super easy way to reach out and learn more about working with me directly. If you're not already, join our membership program. Go to glow.fm/salad with a side of fries. This really shows your support for the podcast, this community, and your health, most importantly. Plus, this week's offering gets you your money back immediately for the month, because you're getting a free fitness consultation with Darlene, a free virtual training class with Darlene and Rise Training, our guest from this week. Plus, your recipe is the almond flour chocolate cake that is truly delicious. So until next week, everybody, remember to be active and stay active at every stage of life, whether that's marked by age or a pandemic. We will see you next Wednesday. Well, friends, that's it for today's episode of Salad with a Side of Fries. Congratulations for making yourself and your health a priority. Thanks so much for joining us. Be sure to click subscribe or follow on your favorite podcast platform. Share us with a friend, and we'll be back next week. Always remember, you deserve it, and you are worth it. Happy healthy.